Please subscribe and you can download this code from description below. Title: Setting Python 3.9.0 as default on Raspberry Pi 4 and configuring your IDE. Raspberry Pi is a versatile and popular single-board computer, and Python is one of the most commonly used programming languages for Raspberry Pi development. This tutorial will guide you through the process of setting Python 3.9.0 as the default version on your Raspberry Pi 4 and configuring your integrated development environment, IDE, to recognize and use this version. Open the terminal. Open the terminal on your Raspberry Pi. You can do this by clicking the terminal icon on the desktop or by pressing Ctrl Alt T. Update the package list. Before installing Python 3.9.0, make sure your package list is up to date by running the following commands. Install Python 3.9.0. Now, install Python 3.9.0 using the following command. Verify installation. Check that Python 3.9.0 is installed successfully by running. You should see something like Python 3.9.0 in the output. By default, Raspberry Pi uses Python 3.7.x. We'll update the symbolic links to make Python 3.9.0 the default. Update alternatives. Run the following commands to update the alternatives. Configure Python version. Configure the Python version by selecting Python 3.9.0. Select the number corresponding to Python 3.9.0 and press Enter. Verify default Python version. Verify that Python 3.9.0 is now the default. The output should show Python 3.9.0. Now that Python 3.9.0 is the default, you need to configure your IDE to use this version. Open Thani. Click on Run in the menu, then select Interpreter. Choose the Python 3.9.0 interpreter from the list. Click OK to apply the changes. Open VS Code. Install the Python extension if you haven't already. Press Ctrl+Shift+P to open the command palette. Type and select Python, select Interpreter. Choose the Python 3.9.0 interpreter from the list. VS Code will use Python 3.9.0 for your projects. Congratulations! You have successfully set Python 3.9.0 as the default version on your Raspberry Pi 4 and configured your IDE to recognize it. Now you can enjoy the latest features and improvements in Python 3.9.0 for your Raspberry Pi development projects. ChatGPT. Title: Setting Python 3.9.0 as default on Raspberry Pi 4 and configuring your IDE. The Raspberry Pi is a versatile and affordable single-board computer that supports various programming languages, including Python. By default, Raspberry Pi typically comes with Python 3.7 pre-installed. However, if you want to use a newer version like Python 3.9.0, you can follow this tutorial to set it as the default Python version on your Raspberry Pi 4. Additionally, we'll address common issues related to configuring your integrated development environment, IDE, to recognize the updated Python version. Before installing Python 3.9.0, make sure your package lists are up to date. Open a terminal and run the following commands. Now, let's install Python 3.9.0 on your Raspberry Pi. Run the following commands. This will download and install Python 3.9.0 on your system. To set Python 3.9.0 as the default Python version, update the alternatives. Run the following command. Now, update the alternatives configuration. Select the option corresponding to Python 3.9.0. Check if Python 3.9.0 is now the default version. you should see something like Python 3.9.0. If you're using Thonny, it should automatically detect the updated Python version. Open Thonny and check the Python interpreter in the bottom right corner. For VS Code, open your project and press Ctrl+ backtick to open the terminal. Make sure the selected interpreter is Python 3.9.0. If not, use the Select Python Interpreter command from the command palette, Ctrl+Shift+P. In PyCharm, open your project and go to File-Settings-Project-Project Interpreter. Choose Python 3.9.0 as the interpreter. You've successfully set Python 3.9.0 as the default on your Raspberry Pi 4 and configured your IDE to recognize it. Now you can take advantage of the latest Python features for your projects. ChatGPT.